This is episode 47 of Pinnacle FC. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe back. We're kind of right in the middle of two vacations. Jake has just returned from a Turkish adventure. I'm off to see Oasis in Cardiff. And we'll fit in some football in between. So Jake is relaxed, ready to give you some winners here this week. We're heading into the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup, a tournament which I've enjoyed in certain stretches, but there's been more complaining and whining about the conditions, about the time, about this, that, and the other, more so than anything else. And there's been some shock results. We're left with one side of the table of the bracket, which is European giants, and the others are from elsewhere. I'm guessing I'm including Chelsea as an American side, if that's okay with you, Jake. What do you make of what we've seen so far and how we could potentially project based on what we've seen and come up and try to make some sense of what's going to play out from here on in?
Very difficult to do that. I think we've seen, especially like you said, in the top half of the bracket, the fact that the Brazilian teams, the South American teams, the fact that they're mid-season has given them a real advantage in terms of physicality. We saw that in the group stages, obviously with Atletico Madrid getting eliminated. We also saw it in the last 16 with Fluminense outlasting Inter. Those the two concerns I had around those two teams were just the fatigue. Inter especially, I just thought it was so tired, such an old squad. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens and whether Chelsea can deal with that, because Palmeiras are going to bring a similar level of intensity, being at peak fitness, but Chelsea kind of had the added bonus of just being able to sign 1 million players and register them whenever they want. And registered João Pedro. He's available for this, having signed him from Brighton.
Wild.
Yeah, it's literally to get money coming in, and they just have to spend it. They have to spend it on players. It's like, oh, we've got 40 million for reaching the quarterfinals. Right, we've got to spend it on a player. It's quite amusing to watch.
We should just mention like another $8 million is on the line if you qualify for the semifinal, another 10 million if you reach the final, another 10 million if you win that, for a total purse of 40 million going to the winner. Carry on, Jake.
Yeah, so the top half is fascinating, and I do think that it sounds silly to say, because obviously, like you said, the Giants are on the other side of the draw, but it might be worth throwing a dart or two at one of these sides from the kind of side of the draw. And I would exclude Chelsea, because I think Chelsea are, at the prices, they're now into third favourites, and it wouldn't be a surprise for me to see them eliminated by Palmeiras. It wouldn't be a surprise to me to see them eliminated by Al-Hilal or Fluminense in the next round. So I definitely think they're a tad too short in the market, and I would just be throwing a few darts, because there's every chance PSG Bayern, that takes a lot out of the players physically, and it's such a big game. And then if they get through that, you've got to play Real Madrid or Dortmund again. It's another big game. Whereas the other guy on the other side of the bracket, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but in terms of mentally and physically getting up for those games, might not be as taxing. So yeah, maybe I'd be looking at, I think Palmeiras. I think they're dangerous this week against Chelsea. I think they're a really well-balanced, well-organised team. I think they're going to cause Chelsea some real problems. And the same with Fluminense. The thing that surprised me, and again, they've not had the tougher run like Al-Hilal have. Al-Hilal obviously have come through a group with Real Madrid. They've avoided defeat there. They've obviously beaten Manchester City, who were quite hotly fancied by many. But I just think the defensive solidity that Fluminense have shown, which we'll touch on in a minute when we talk about that game, could be the recipe to see them get past and get into the final at least. They're a big number at plus 1,800.
Well, let's pick up that train of thought and deal with the futures markets. And maybe you can specifically let us know where you're going to throw your darts. You hinted at Fluminense, you hinted at Palmeiras, but PSG are the favorite in that market. By the way, all the markets that we use are courtesy of Pinnacle. Bet smart, bet Pinnacle. PSG, the favorites at plus 242. Real Madrid then at plus 295. You touched on it, Chelsea at plus 422. But for some of those longer shots on the top half of the bracket, Palmeiras at plus 1403. Al-Hilal at plus 1406. And Fluminense plus 1802. So in which direction, Mr. Luke Littler, is your dart heading? Where are you going with this?
I think I would be going with Fluminense at the bigger price, because I think that the tie with Al-Hilal is very evenly matched. And then if they get through to the semi-finals, obviously anything can happen. I wouldn't be surprised seeing all Brazilian semi-final. Having said that, obviously we're talking about winner prices, and then it's almost, can you get it around your head whether Fluminense are going to beat a PSG or a Real Madrid in the final? of the Club World Cup to win it at this kind of price. I would suspect that might be a bridge too far, but if you're wanting something to trade, then just taking a darts at all of them, really. The big enough prices to be able to trade out as well. And yeah, the top of the bracket, it's so tough to call. There's every chance we have a PSG Real Madrid semi-final. They're the two favourites in the market. I think from a betting perspective, I'm going to leave it alone officially, but like I said, dart-wise, looking at Fluminense is a big price to potentially sneak into a final, just based off the fact that their defensive numbers have been really, really impressive. And I know that their route through has been kind. They had a very easy group with Dortmund and the Sundowns and Ulsan, but from what we've seen so far, the fact that their XG per shot is at 0.075 tells me that they are doing a very, very good job of making the scoring opportunities really difficult for their opponents, forcing them wide, getting blocks on shots, and basically just giving their keeper a bit of an easy ride. If they continue to do that, that is something that is generally something that you can count on moving forward.
Yeah. Palmeiras would be the team that I would throw that dart at, just based upon what I've seen. They're a little bit younger. They have a little bit more legs. I really like Rios in the middle of the park. I've been watching this player play in the Copa America, play for his national team, and now I've got a chance to see what he looks like in club football as well. Looks like a real complete player. And like I said, they're just a little bit younger, have a little bit more legs. Their ability to press and manage games for me has been very, very good throughout this tournament. So that would be my play. It's just hard for me to look past PSG right now against anyone in this competition, and they are deserved favorites. I wanted to see what it looked like throughout this tournament. I mean, a walk through the park against Inter Miami. They play a Bayern Munich team, which has its defensive frailties. So we'll see what that looks like. But it's hard for me to look past the favorite in this one. But we'll see what that path, a very difficult path on their way potentially to a final. Let's go through the individual games, shall we? Let's start off with Fluminense taking on Al-Hilal. Fluminense defeated Inter Milan, which I knew heard a lot of bettors out there because they were backing the European sides, despite the fact that the European sides, it's been difficult for them at this tournament. Fluminense also hasn't lost in their last 10. They're taking on Al-Hilal. They're unbeaten in their last 9 in all competitions. That 4-3 victory over Man City was a statement one as well. The markets do slightly favor Al-Hilal to win. To pick them outright in 90 minutes to win, plus 155 on Pinnacle, plus 181 for Fluminense. The handicap is set at 0, so really can go either way. And the total is set at 2.5. Which direction are you going here, Jake?
Like I said, I'm probably leaning towards Fluminense just because we've seen them be a little bit more defensively sound. But I do think the bet here is taking the unders, 2.5 goal line at minus 116. Again, based off the fact that Fluminense are going to give up too many chances, too many goals. Just 0.24 XG conceded to a good Dortmund team, 0.87 to Ulsan against the Sundowns. It was 0.6, and then into 1.29, despite being in front from the 3rd minute. And I think that's the most impressive thing is you go in front early, you naturally sit deep and soak up pressure. And they didn't concede any chances of note, if you like. And like I said, the XG per shot has been very, very low. And if they can continue that against a shot-happy Al-Hilal team who are more than happy to shoot from distance and whatnot, then I do think that they could cause a bit of an upset. So if they are going to do that, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think they'll come out on top of a 4-3 like the Al-Hilal City game was. And yeah, the flip side, they've just looked a little bit more vulnerable defensively, Al-Hilal. Obviously, they have played better teams, as I've said, but even against Salzburg, caused them a few problems. But Pachuca had, I think it was 16 shots to 8 in that game. Granted, Al-Hilal created the better chances, but it does show that the opposition are getting opportunities. And yeah, the game against City was just mental, wasn't it? Over 120 minutes, they lost the XG battle. There was a combined expected goals total of 7.5. And there were 15 big chances in that match, which is absolutely remarkable. But I just think Fluminense are going to keep with what they've been doing and just being hard to beat and hoping that gets them through. And I think that'll lead to an unders game. So I'm taking the unders.
Yep, I'm on the exact same play here. Fluminense has had a clean sheet in 3 of 4. Al-Hilal has played to the under in 3 of 4 in this competition. Knockout round football, especially at this stage, it's been hot. The conditions have been difficult. Especially with Fluminense, they need to play a composed, contained game. Like Thiago Silva is like a million years old playing at center back. They have a 44-year-old goalkeeper. I just look at them as a team where their experience is their advantage, and I think that they maybe should be a slight favorite heading into this game as well. The play I really like, I think that Fluminense is undervalued in terms of what it looks like just to win this outright. I'm not sure if it'll come in 90 minutes. I don't mind betting them on the handicap at plus 105 at the zero handicap. It's basically a draw, no bet. But if you want to swing a little bit bigger, if Fluminense is going to win this, I think it's going to be in a low-scoring game. So Fluminense to win and under 2.5 goals comes in at plus 512. I'm going to sprinkle there and hope that that comes through. So Fluminense to win, money line in 90 minutes and under 2.5 at plus 512. But I'll just be making the under my big play, and that will just be a little bit of a half unit bet there to see if I can capitalize on some perceived value, in my opinion. I think unders is the play, and I think Fluminense is a good bet as well. So, yeah. Both teams also, just to keep in mind, have scored the majority of their goals in the second half of games. And with the conditions as well, it's something else to kind of look forward to. Maybe a first half under. That could be the way to go out and play this as well, Jake.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, there's a lot being made of the temperatures and the lightning strikes and all sorts of suspensions and stuff, but it definitely has led to some certain angles in terms of betting when it comes to those opportunities. Obviously, the 5 subs helps with the second half goals as well. You get 10 fresh players on basically against tired players, which can make a big difference. So I do like that angle for sure.
Okay, Chelsea Palmeiras on the other game on that side of the bracket. Chelsea coming off a 4-1 victory over Benfica, a game that was delayed for a considerable period of time. Notably, Moises Caicedo is suspended for this upcoming game. They take on a Palmeiras side that beat their rival in Botafogo, who knocked them out of the Libertadores last season. It was a 1-0 final. Paulinho in extra time to go on and win it. Interestingly, Estavio, who's going to be joining Chelsea, is now going to be playing that team in this tournament, as they kind of allowed him to stay at Palmeiras for the time being so they can play. How do you see this one playing out? This was a really intriguing game for me, and I think it could be one that really kind of determines how that top half of the bracket plays out.
Yeah, the Caicedo suspension is massive, because I think he's been one of Chelsea's best players for the last 5-6 months. He's settled after a bit of a shaky start following his move from Brighton. I think that's quite big. I mentioned that João Pedro could come in. I kind of want to back against Chelsea, but the hesitancy is the fact that their squad is just so deep, and they've got so many players that are of such a good quality that the tiredness factor, I don't think, is going to hit them as much as it has done other teams, because they can rotate players that are of a very similar quality. Having said that, I think at the prices, we've just got to throw a dart at Palmeiras to win the match at plus 290. The handicap's half a goal at minus 122, but I'd rather just have a go on smaller stakes to take Palmeiras to win, because this is a team that are just used to winning football matches under Abel Ferreira. I think last season was the first season since 2021 that they failed to win any silverware. So they are just used to winning tournaments and winning football matches, winning league titles. And I think we have seen that. And granted, this is a step up from what they've faced so far. They played Porto, Al-Hilal, Inter Miami and Botafogo. But you could argue the same for Chelsea. I mean, the toughest game that they've played, in my opinion, was Flamengo. And they were comfortably beaten in that one. I know Nicholas Jackson was sent off, but even before then, there were signs there that Flamengo were really causing them some problems. It was on this exact same field as well, in Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial Field. And I just wonder if they're going to have another struggle. My main concerns with Chelsea heading into the tournament were the fact that they did struggle against better teams last season. Against the Premier League's top 6 last season, they won just 3 of 10 matches. Now, I'm not saying Palmeiras are at that kind of level, but if you think about the physicality trade-off, the fact that Chelsea are post-season, Palmeiras are peak season, mid-season, they might have that small edge that can bridge that gap almost, just like Flamengo, really, and cause them some problems. So more than happy to throw a dart. And it has to be said that while Palmeiras have had an easier schedule, they've dominated that schedule. Like they won the XG battle, they've won the shot battle, they've won every big chance battle, every single match they've played at this tournament. So they are very much a team to be on side, and I think they can cause an upset, knock out the only other English team remaining.
That's my play at plus 290. That's where the value is. The total set at 2.25 in this game. I'll stay away from that. I said I like Rios. I like their wing backs. I like Roque up top, Estavio. Like, they have some players that can hurt Chelsea. They will be without their center back Gomez, who was sent off in extra time in that game for 2 questionable offenses. So he'll be out, but I think it's worth a punch. Palmeiras, it's more of their style of play and the way they play that stands out to me. And they'll have phenomenal support in Philadelphia on Friday night as well. I mean, that's been a real factor as well. It's just, you can't compare, what the South American teams and how they've been supported throughout this tournament to, the lack of fanfare that some of these other European teams have had. So Palmeiras plus 290, that's the best play for me as well. All right, PSG, Bayern Munich. PSG coming off a 4-0 victory over Inter Miami. Bayern Munich 4-2 over Flamengo. 16 goals in this tournament so far for Bayern Munich. I mean, 10 of them did come against Auckland in the opening match, but we'll leave that alone. Interestingly, Bayern Munich, 7 wins in 8 against PSG, and they won their last 4 with clean sheets. I mean, the recent history suggests that this will be a very different game, considering PSG are on for a potential quadruple and look very much the part even in this tournament as well. There's an implied probability based upon where the markets are set that PSG will win this game at 43%, and the total is being hit as well by bettors looking to the over. How are you looking at this game, Jake?
Both those 2 angles you just finished off with there, PSG to win and taking the goal line on as well, because obviously I think I mentioned on the preview show that I managed to get on PSG after the Champions League final to win this tournament, so I'm in a good position future-wise, but I just think this price is too big still for them to win this match against a Bayern Munich team that have continued to show defensive vulnerability. I mean, they brushed aside Auckland, completely expected, scraped past Boca with a late goal and lost to Benfica so far in this tournament. And I know the performances in both those last 2 games were probably better than the results suggested, but they came up against a Flamengo side who we've just discussed were very, very good and, topped the group, beat Chelsea comfortably, and they were second best by Munich in terms of all the metrics that we would look to just on face value. So lost the XG battle, lost the big chances created. So it does just highlight to me that they are probably still a step below the level of PSG and probably Real Madrid. And I think the big decisive thing for me is that PSG have got probably the best fullback combination in the world in terms of attacking and defensive. And Bayern Munich, one of their key creators is Michael Elise. I think Mendes will be able to put the clamps on him pretty well, like he has done every single winger that he's faced. As well as Kimmich, obviously, who's been playing midfield. He's created the most chances at this tournament for Bayern, and he's going to find it difficult against this PSG trio that has dominated every match they've played really for the last 7 months. So I'm all over PSG to win. I think there's going to be goals. Bayern Munich are going to go down swinging. They're probably going to get on the score line as well on the score sheet. So I won't put anybody off backing a PSG winning both teams to score or PSG winning over total, but I'll just be backing PSG to win.
Okay, PSG in the over at plus 212 is my play for all of those reasons. I mean, the front 3-4 that they have, Bayern Munich looks shaky at the back. Kingsley Coman came off hurt. I think it's precautionary, but it's something to at least monitor for Bayern Munich. But very
PSG
difficult.
Full strength as well. Dembele's back fit.
Full strength. It's just it's going to be a massive test for Bayern Munich, and just one I just don't think that they're going to be up for. So yeah, both teams to score in the over at plus 212. Let's move on to the final match to be played in East Rutherford, New Jersey at Giants Stadium. Is that what they still call it? Whatever.
MetLife.
It's MetLife. There you go. Forget about the Jets. Forget about the Giants too. Both of them are dreadful. It's Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund, a rematch of the 2023 Champions League final. Real Madrid, 1-0 victory over Juventus. Borussia Dortmund we kind of picked them to go deep in this tournament based upon how the draw would play out, and it's played out that way. A 2-1 victory over Monterrey last time out. Needless to say, Real Madrid, considerable favorites. Kylian Mbappe is over that stomach, whatever he had. It sounded awful, which kind of took him out earlier in the tournament. How do you see this one playing out as we wrap up here?
It's very difficult to look past Real Madrid, I have to admit. As much as I'd like to see Dortmund go further, I think it's going to be hard work. They've not been as impressive as I expected them to be in this tournament so far. They were second best against Fluminense. They were second best against Mamelodi Sundowns, and they only had 6 shots against Monterrey over 90 minutes. They were generally high quality, but they're not quite the dominance I expected to see from them against what has been a very favourable schedule. So I think their road ends here, basically. It's going to be difficult. Real Madrid, as you said, Mbappe's back fit. You're looking at a near full strength team again. He's still doing some tinkering. Is Alonso played? I think Tchouaméni was dropping into a back 3 against Juventus just to match them, and it meant that you had Bellingham floating alongside Arda Güler. So it's really interesting tactical stuff Alonso's trying to bring in. It means Trent's playing a bit more as a wing back, and obviously we know what he's capable of. It's just, how do you want to back Real Madrid? Minus 152 on the money line. Handicap, you're looking at minus three quarters at minus 119. That's probably where I would lean. Or, it might sound strange, but Real Madrid win to 0. It could be a potential option because, as I said, Dortmund have been very, very tame in terms of the number of shots that they've been getting away, apart from against Ulsan, where they racked up 28 shots. So it was 8 against Mamelodi Sundowns, 7 against Fluminense, 6 against Monterrey. So they've been struggling to actually get shooting opportunities, which is only going to be even more the case against a good Real Madrid team who are going to dominate the ball and looking a little bit more cohesive under Alonso. So Real Madrid win to 0 would be where I would lean, but it's no official play for me. Do you have anything there? It's plus 240 for the win to 0.
I do. I'm going to the corners market. I'm going to go Real Madrid minus 1.5 at minus 114 because you said it, like Borussia Dortmund. Girassi has been very good. He continues to be a reliable goal scorer, but beyond that, Joe Bellingham suspended for this game as well. Their chance generation is what would concern me here against a much more robust, looks like a much stronger defensive side in Real Madrid. Real Madrid 11 corners to 4 in a 1-0 victory over Juventus last time out at minus a corner and a half, at minus 114. That'll be my play for this game.
Nice.
So that's it. All right. Do you want to provide your best bet? I think I'm going to roll with the Fluminense Al-Hilal under as one of my top 3. I'm going to go with Palmeiras to win at plus 290, and then PSG Bayern Munich, PSG to win over at plus 212 as my top bet of the quarterfinal round.
Yeah, my best bet is just PSG to beat Bayern Munich at plus 125. Like I say, I like the Palmeiras to win as well at plus 290 for it as a bigger price. I think they could upset Chelsea, especially without Caicedo, who provides so much muscle and legs in midfield. And then the under in Fluminense Al-Hilal. So similar lines, which is usually a good thing, I think. Whereas if we disagree, it's usually a good thing for me.
If not, we'll blame it on vacation brain because we're both in that state. We'll be back ahead of the finals of this competition to break it all down in depth, as we always do here on Pinnacle FC. He is Jake Osgathorpe, and I am Gareth Wheeler, and this has been episode 47 of Pinnacle FC.